All right, you guys, I'm gonna pull over for a second because I just left a consultation with a client, and we were talking about what they should do if they have a child that is in their early 20s and getting ready for college. They took off for a little while out of high school. They took off for a few years and they were just working. So we went over what they should do if they, just started a fairly decent job, what they should be doing with the money. And if you're starting in your 20s, what are some of the steps you could take so that they don't end up in the same predicament like their parents did, and they can just have some better financial planning. So we're going to go over today what the schools don't teach most children in high school and college. Unless you go to business school or finance or accounting, you really don't, get to learn this stuff. So in this video, I'm going to go over some things that I shared with this young 20-something that could possibly help you if you're in your 20s. So as someone who's way past 20, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, especially financial mistakes. And a lot of my coworkers, when I used to work in corporate America, have done the same thing. A lot of people in our community have done the same thing. So we don't want the next generation to not be prepared for life, and especially for this new economy that we're dealing with, technology and AI and things like that. We want you guys to be prepared. We don't want you making the same mistakes. So I jotted down a few things that I went over with them, and I'm going to share with you. I'm going to step out the car for a second because I do want to kind of walk a little bit. It's really nice out. We finally got a nice day. And a lot of times when I'm filming, sometimes I'm in the car, I'm in the office because it's so hot out here in Texas that it's really hard to do these walking and talking videos. But because this was on my mind and I just finished this consultation, I was like, let me go ahead and make this video, because this is something I wish somebody would have told me when I was in my 20s. I feel like when you're in your 20s, we are a little hard-headed. Some of us, we're a little hard-headed. It's kind of like that advice your mom gives you, your parents give you, and you kind of brush it off like, oh, I'm not going to make the same mistakes you guys did, or I'm not going to listen to you. You're old school. You don't know what you're talking about. That's not how we do things anymore. You know how we are when we're younger. We're a little hard-headed. We don't want to listen to the elders. So I hope you guys listen to me, please, when I make this video. You 20-something, you teenagers almost getting out of high school, you seniors, I hope y'all really listen to me, because I started working when I was in high school. And I didn't have this advice. So even though some of the advice I give you right now, you may not follow it, because you have to sometimes you just got to learn on your own. Sometimes you got to get out into adulthood and society and kind of just test things for yourself. And then when you see that what you're doing sometimes isn't working, then you're going to probably remember this video. Because I'm not going to steer you wrong. I want you to succeed. So I'm going to only give you the best advice. So these are some things that keep people poor. And these are some things I hope that you avoid while you're, when you start that good paying first job that you have. And good paying just means, you're not making, minimum wage. You have a decent amount of income to probably move out now and get your own place. You probably finish college now, or you're getting ready to start college. Like this young man took off for a little bit after high school and now wants to go back to college. But he is working. He's working in, I think, a restaurant business. So he has a little money coming in. He is making above minimum wage. He's not like working at the fast food. He's working at like a full service restaurant. So he has the opportunity to make tips and things like that. So he is going to make a little bit more than a person making minimum wage for, I think minimum wage out here is like $8 or $9 an hour. And he's at like 15, 16 an hour. So, and he lives at home. But these are the things his parents were talking to me that they want him to do, because they were like, well, he's wasting a lot of his money. Or, sometimes he saves the money, but then he goes and spends it on, putting, kits and rims on his cars and different things like that, and going out with his friends and having a good time, which a lot of people want to do once they leave their parents' house, or when they're young and they're still at their parents' house. They want to get out and have some fun, especially once you've been in, high school, middle school, and all that. You want to, after that, you've been in school for so many years of your life. You finally are grown and you can drive, you can get out and do your own thing. But one of the things I want to go over with you guys is what keeps people poor, so you don't make these mistakes. So when you're young, you hear a lot of older people say, I kind of regret that I did that in my 20s. I kind of regret that I did this, because, you realize, you start making money, but then you go out and you start partying with your friends. And you probably don't have a lot of bills at this time because you most likely don't have a family. Some people do have families out of, when they're young, high school. They may get pregnant, or the girl may get pregnant. You may have a child around high school or early college years. But for the most part, most young adults aren't starting families these days that young. So you probably don't have a lot of bills besides maybe your car note, your insurance, food, your cell phone, things like that. But what's keeping young people poor is drinking, alcohol. Alcohol is the devil. I'm telling you, it will have you doing some things you probably shouldn't be doing, and you probably would not do if you weren't on that alcohol. So just be real careful with these turned up parties, these music videos and things like that, showing you, promoting, getting drunk all the time, getting turned up, having multiple partners and all that stuff. Be careful with people promoting that kind of stuff on social media and making it like it's all fun and glamour, because it's not. It's gonna ruin you financially when you're younger if you're drinking a lot. If you're doing drugs, the same thing. Drugs ruin a lot of people's lives. We already know that. Stay away from those drugs. Pornography is another thing. There's a lot of addiction to pornography. Be careful with things like that. If you have any addictions, try to deal with them now, or you're going to have a hard time in life with your finances. And especially if you're trying to, retire early or get out of working for other people and start your own business way before you're 50, 60, 70 years old. If you don't start implementing these good habits today, you're going to struggle in the future. You're going to have a hard time. I would say the number one problem I'm seeing with young people is these DWIs, getting these DWIs. I don't think there's a lot of them, but there's not as many as before, the rideshare industry came around. Before the rideshare industry, we had taxis in some cities, unless you lived in New York, Chicago, or London. Taxis were really hard to get, especially like here in Texas where I live. You had to call a taxi, you had to wait, you had to hope they found your address, because, all of them weren't, even with, because back in the day, we didn't have the GPS systems like we have today and the technology on our phones to find certain people's homes. So, or if you were out at a public event, you had to rely on them finding you. So DWIs were a lot higher back then. When I would talk to police officers, they would tell me, but I think it's been a lot lower now because we have the rideshare. But even still with the rideshare, I'm still meeting young people who are getting DWIs. And DWIs minimum in Texas are costing about $10,000, and that's if you didn't hit someone or get in any type of accident. Now, I do have coworkers and friends over the years who actually got into accidents. I met a guy, he wasn't anyone I know personally, but I met him and he actually hit a police officer, he said, but the police officer did not die or get hurt. He hit his car. He had over a $20,000 DWI bill between that and the lawyer. And of course, if the person were to die, he was facing, up to 10 to 30 years in prison. So these DWIs are destroying a lot of young people's lives. Try to get alcohol out of your life as soon as you can, or try to cut down on it. The thing is with alcohol, it also affects your finances greatly, because when you're drinking more, you're spending more and you don't even realize it, and it kind of hits you within a few days after you sober up. Now, it may take you only 24 hours to sober up legally, but the body still has to process the alcohol in your system. So even though legally you're not technically drunk, you can go to work, you can probably drive a car the next day, the alcohol, like food and anything you put in your body, has to process, and it's so still in your system. It causes you to make really, really bad choices. I've met a lot of people who have had unwanted pregnancies by getting intoxicated, going to parties and meeting some person they didn't even want to really be with. So be careful with getting, like I said, these parties when you're young, these college events, getting turned up, drunk and not knowing where you are, passed out on the ground somewhere. Be real careful. This is going to take a lot of money out of your life. I make a lot of successful, I'm talking about multi-millionaire business owners, and a lot of them stop drinking or don't drink at all. So I really think TV ads and commercial promotes drinking a lot, but you have to realize there's a lot of cultures where, in religions, where drinking is not even allowed, and they're able to function just fine, and their families are able to function just fine. I can go to events, especially if you go to a Muslim event. There's no drinking at any Muslim event I've been to. Like the ones that are actually practicing. I know there's some that are more modernized that will, but I'm saying like the ones that I'll go to their wedding, there's no alcohol at the wedding at all. Everybody's turned up and having a good time without alcohol. So there is possible to live a life without alcohol, even though they're showing you on TV, you got to drink, you got to get turned up. I made these mistakes. Like I said, I don't want you to make these same mistakes. Have a little fun in your life, but be careful. Be careful, because you also will post stuff on social media that is inappropriate and may affect your business. You may say things that you might think it's a joke, but somebody else may take it offensively. They may think it's racially motivated, even though you may have plenty of friends of other races. You may say something politically. You may say something that just ruins your future business and career. And it's just, even though it's just for fun, it was just meant just out of you being young and may not knowing at the time. The things that young people do, the things that I've done, it's not that we're bad people. It's just people, when you're young, you don't have that discernment at that age. You just think life is funny and fun and everything is good, and you don't really think about the long-term effects it has on your career or a business you're going to create. So just be careful with that. Alcohol, I know, has made people post some things, even on my social media. I don't really be on there as much as I used to, but I remember when I was on there, I would see things that people would post, even my niece and nephews. I had to say, take that down right now. One of my nephews went into the Army, and I said, you don't know, but before he went, I said, you don't know what you're going to be in life. Take what you just did down. That is very inappropriate. And I'm not the social media police. I don't really bother them about the stuff they post. We've raised them right. We've raised them with God, and we raised them pretty well. As their aunts, uncles, and grandparents, we all have been a part of their life. So we raised them pretty well. But still, they're still young, and they are still influenced by social media. So there's some things they think is cool because they're seeing other people post it, and we have to help them understand that is not cool. And you don't post things like that. So be very careful with social media. Another thing with social media is fake. As a person who comes from a finance and accounting background, social media is fake. Social media will have you thinking like everybody's wealthy, everybody's rich, everybody's doing well, and they're only showing you the good part of their life. Social media is not showing you people who are, like when they're failing or doing bad in their business or their life. So you got to be careful following social media. You got to be careful following celebrities. You got to be very careful following like rappers and things like that. A lot of that stuff is given to those people for free. They promote it, and then the companies want to sell it to you, the average consumer. And in order to have some of those things they have, like the Lambos, you really have to have real money to have those things. Those things were not created. Louis Vuitton purses, Lambos, those things were not created for people probably under the $250,000, $300,000. Well, we're talking about the purses. The Lambo you probably couldn't even buy unless you bought a used one with a lot of miles on it. You probably couldn't even buy one for under $200,000, $300,000. Unless, like I said, it's really old, got a lot of miles already. But the purses, like, or some of those things you're seeing people have, that stuff could be given to them as during brand deals. I know a lot of social media influencers have brand deals, and rappers and celebrities, or they're really in a lot of debt, and they're and that's how they acquire those items. But the actual rich and affluent and wealthy people, they may have a few nice things, but not people. You have to already be wealthy and affluent to have those things. And even as I work in sales, I work in real estate, I have my own business, and even when I go to people's homes that are like really wealthy, like they got really nice homes, they usually have like mommy vans outside. They have like, I'm sure the husband may have something fancy, but I don't see a lot of fancy vehicles like I see in some of these social media influencers. And these people are so young. I'm not saying they can't have it. I'm just saying be very careful, because you don't know if it's rented. You don't know if it's owned by a spouse or sugar daddy, sugar mommies. You don't know what these people are doing to get these things. And so be very careful. Make sure you build wealth the right way, and, you know, take your time learning and building your wealth. Don't just assume everything you're seeing on social media is real, and you don't know where those people got that stuff from. And, you know, just be careful with social media. Social media is very fake. A lot of athletes and rappers go broke. We know that from the celebrities. They don't really have what they have. And then if they do, you know, we're now seeing with this whole Diddy thing, we're now seeing like what people are going through to get those things. Like they're having to sell their soul, sell their bodies, be drunk and intoxicated on drugs. So they usually develop a drug addiction or some other addiction, and their lives are usually ruined. So be careful thinking that social media, what you're seeing as far as the wealth part of building wealth, is real. Be very careful. I'm gonna go over how you really do it, how the wealthy really do it, how people really do it, not the fake way or all the stuff they're promoting, the fast way. You know, usually if you build something fast, it comes crumbling down just as fast. You know, but rushing to leave your parents' house. Now, I know this is a kind of a little controversy, because I rushed to leave my parents' house. And so I will say this: if you have the option to stay with your parents for a little while, there's cultures where people don't leave their parents house until they're married or 20, like almost damn near 25, 30. And I know that's not the American way, but you got to be careful who's telling you this information. I used to think, yeah, when a person turns 18, you push them out the house. I couldn't wait to leave, so I probably would have left regardless. But if I could go back, I would say stay in your family's home as long as they'll allow you to, and as long as it's not it's a safe place, because I know everyone doesn't have the same type of parents. But as long as it's a safe place for you to stay, try to stay there until you finish college, or at least until you get a decent paying job. Don't just rush out on a low paying job. Unless, like I said, you have to go for some reason. Your parents will say, hey, you got to leave the house. We really won't need it. You know, we like our space. We've done the best we can to help you get going. Get out, you know. But try to stay in your parents' house and save and invest your money is what I'm going to show you in this video. Try to do that. Don't just try to rush out fast and get your own place. And the reason being is because you're going to need this money to either start a business or to take early retirement on, if you decide, you know, you don't want to work for someone in 20 to 30 years. You're tired of working for them. So I know housing in most places is running people between 12 to almost 30,000 a year for an apartment. So an apartment can range anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 a month. It could be more in some cities. I've heard 3,000 to 4,000 in some cities. But I'm saying on average, people are spending a lot of their income on housing. So if you move out too early or you move out too fast and you're not set up and ready, sometimes that can set you back financially a little bit, because all your income, or the majority of your income, is going to your housing. And so there's really nothing left for you to save and invest. Be careful buying those luxury clothes and items unless you have the income for it. Try to build a portfolio where you have enough income coming in where you could take the residual income from that and go out and buy all the luxury items that you want. Another thing that keeps people poor, and you know, you see all these miserable adults sometimes walking around moping and looking depressed. And you know, if you see sometimes you'll see people at a party on Saturday or Sunday, and you just see that look on their face because they got to go to work on Monday. They're just like, oh, I got to go to work tomorrow. I don't want to go. Or if you go out to happy hour on a Wednesday or Thursday, you kind of see that look on their face and they're like, oh my God, I got to go to work tomorrow. Well, the reason why they feel that way is because they are never invested and save, a lot of them. They're in a lot of debt. So you see them just beat down from not making good choices. So make sure you're investing and saving your money. Make sure you are not eating out daily, that is also costing people a lot of money. What people are doing is, you're going to go to McDonald's, you're going to go to Raising Cane's and Chick-fil-A, all those places that are on campus. And those places are like $7, $10, $15. And then you're going to go for breakfast. And you're going to go to Starbucks for $5 to $10 in the morning. Then you're going to go to lunch, $5 to $15 for lunch. Then you're going to go for dinner. Then you're going to go for drinks. And when you look at it, you've already spent almost $30, $40 for the day. And then if you add that up, you're spending like, anywhere from $600 to $1,200 a month eating out. And that same amount of food could have only cost you $300. Well, you probably won't have McDonald's, but I'm saying that same, if you went in grocery shopping and did some meal prep, you would probably only spend like $300, $400 a month. Still high, but I'm saying you got to look at how much you're eating out, because I remember helping one family, and I remember that Burger King was costing them like $20 a day. Like they were going almost up to 2 or 3 times, going to Burger King, going to Raising Cane's, going to Chick-fil-A, Starbucks, wherever. And then their bill's like $20, $40, $50 a day. And that's almost like $1,500 a month. So you gotta be really careful eating out. Eating out will slowly like take money out of your bank account, out of your pocket. And it's such a slow drip, you don't realize it at first. So be real careful eating out. Falling for get-rich-quick schemes. It's really hard when you're young and you don't have a lot of experience in finance, accounting, math, or business. Sometimes you're going to fall for some things. You're going to see things and it's going to look so good. The person is so convincing and you're just going to be like, oh my God, I have, $500 or $5,000 to invest in it. I'm going to do it. Sometimes there are things you're probably going to just try because while you're young, you should be trying things because you're not going to know if some things work. But please take your time to learn about the business you're trying to invest in, or what business you're trying to create when you're young, or how you're going to make money when you're young, because sometimes it's so tempting and you'll end up getting scammed a lot when you're younger, because you just don't have enough life experience to discern that it is a scam or it is not a profitable business that they're telling you about. Be careful with trading. I see trading crypto. I see things like day trading and getting rich fast. None of that stuff works. Believe me, it doesn't work. Please trust me. I know you're gonna have to go try it yourself. And what is that, NFT and things like that. You're gonna have to try some of the stuff yourself. You're gonna get into some bad real estate deals. You're gonna give people your money to get into some bad real estate deals. I know it may happen to you because you just don't understand the process, but just know that if I can leave you with anything, is that the stock market already has a track record. The real estate market already has a track record over 100 plus years of our country being in existence. We have a track record on what is working and what is not working. And in trading, especially in the equity market, stock market, a lot of companies have succeeded, but a lot of them have failed. And on average, the stock market returns 8 to 12% a year. There are going to be some years where it's going to do very well, like it's going to soar to 15, 20% returns maybe. But those are not every year, and they're not that often. So you got to be careful with somebody telling you that they can get you 10, 20, 30% in 1 week or 1 day or one year, because we don't have data proving no one can do that. It's really hard to beat the market or even do that. So you're going to end up losing a lot of your money if you fall into those kind of schemes. So you got to be real careful with that. When you're starting out, just have patience. Know that you're going to get there. I know it may feel like it's taking a little while, but I promise you, if you start today in your 20s, you're going to do so well, way better than the rest of us did, because we didn't have the information, or we fell for we didn't have really social media influencers growing up. We had our celebrities and we just fell for stuff that they promoted or they did, and we thought that would work. We fell for things our community told us, people who came in and hosted seminars and webinars and workshops and things like that, and we didn't have any data. We didn't have enough information at that time to know that those were scams, because we didn't have communities where you can go on like a Reddit or something to find out something wasn't good for us. So you do have that information. Please utilize it today. Know that there's no easy way to get rich super, super quick or overnight. Yeah, you can post a video of a product or service you have, and within a few months, a few days, a few years, that could go viral and possibly get you some income in your pocket. I think there was a girl named Pink Sauce or something. She became a multimillionaire in under, I think, a year or so, or 2 years, because she created that pink sauce. It looks so gross to me, but people bought it, and I think she had like, I don't even know, it was just an astronomical amount of sales. She did good. She couldn't keep up with the demand because she didn't know it was going to take off that fast. And the product looked mold. People said the product, some people got good products and some people got like a moldy looking product. People got products in Ziploc bags. Like it wasn't hygienically packaged right and cleaned in her. And she couldn't keep up with it because it grew so fast because of word of mouth on social media. You could do something similar to that, but that is your own thing that you created. Investing in something someone else created, you don't know if that's going to really take off. So be very careful with things like that. My next one is debt. This I get some backlash on because people are so conditioned in our economy, in our society, to take on and stay in debt and be in debt. They think it's just as normal as brushing their teeth, and that's if they even do that. Debt, you have, like I said with the stock market, you have a track record, you have history, you have people to go back to and look at what they've done. You have the top fund managers telling you it's very rare that we could beat the market. Only a certain percentage of people out of all the MIT and Harvard grads and all these smart Stanford, all these smart business men and women who have went to some of the top business schools in this country, if they can't do it and only a very few people can do it, then the likelihood of, most average, what we call the average Joe person, cannot do it. So it's best to, diversify and be, find funds with track records and just put your money there and stick with that, instead of trying to find, these unicorns and beat the market. And that has helped Warren Buffett. He's one of the richest men in the world. He started at a very young age, younger than you guys. I think he started about in his teens, and you guys are starting in your 20s. So if he could become the richest man in the world by slowly, investing in the stock market, building his wealth, buying companies, then you guys can do it too. But I forgot what I was going to tell you about the last part. Debt. So debt. If you already have people in your life, in your history, like in the history of the United States, in the countries, already saying debt has ruined their lives, debt has destroyed their marriages, debt has destroyed their families, credit card has ruined their lives, credit card has destroyed their family, why would you keep putting your hand in the hot stove? We already know that, yes, you can use money and leverage it. We know that. Most of us know that, or we're learning that, right? But for the most part, historically, debt is ruining the American people's lives. Debt is closing businesses. Debt is responsible for a lot of layoffs at major corporations. Debt is not sustainable for most people and in the long run. Debt also eats up all your future earnings. That is why people go into debt. And in the future, while 1 or 2 or 3 years go by, 5 years go by, they are still in that same debt for 5 years ago, and they don't even know what they bought. Ask most people who have a debt, when did you get this debt? 5 or 6, 7, 10 years ago. What was it for? I don't know. I don't even remember what I did. I think I was turned up in college. That's actually exactly what they're going to say. I think I was turned up in college. And I spent too much money, on a round of drinks for everybody at the bar. And I to be honest, I don't even remember. I gave it to, I spent it on this chick. I don't know. I had 10 chicks, and I don't even know where the money is. I don't know. Louis Vuitton has it. I don't even have a Louis Vuitton purse anymore. I don't know. I understand there are people promoting, go build a credit score, go get these credit cards, get all this debt so you can build this score, chase the score. But you know how I learned in accounting and finance, what I've learned is there are a lot of successful clients I have don't even carry a lot of debt from what they've told me or what I've seen, because they buy real estate through me, right? So they have money to put down, or they're paying cash, straight out cash for their real estate. And the people who are in debt, they're not paying that. They're up here talking, how do I get closing costs on a seller? How do I get some money back? And then the people who got the money, they're like, I don't like debt. I don't do debt. Now, there are going to be some times in your life you may have to get some debt to build a company. But unless you're trying to build a big company, my advice to you is to stay away from debt. You can use your own money and build it up to enough where you can fund things on your own. You don't need to go get a lot of credit. But like I said, this video, we can't make it. I'm not going to go into building business with credit. I think for this video, we're going to go into, if you're just going to work a normal job, let's just say you're going to work in IT, you're going to be a nurse, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to work as a manager at a restaurant, you're going to be a server for the rest of your life, you're going to work on the cars for the rest of your life, I don't know what you're going to do, but if you're going to have the traditional 9-to-5 job for a while until you're ready to retire, start your own thing, then take that money that you're saving, if you're still able to live with your parents, that money, and put it in a diverse portfolio. If you can do about anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 a year, then in about 10 years, you should have $200,000 to $400,000, just depending on how much you're investing, what your rate, if your rate of return is between 8% or 12%, and then how much you're investing, your rate of return, and how many years you're going to have that money in there. So if you have $200,000 to $500,000, just as an example, you have enough money usually to go start almost any business. Or you can get us anywhere from a 4 to 8% return on that money, and you could be living off of. And this won't be your full-time money, but I'm just saying you could probably replace some of your income or half your income just off this one portfolio. That doesn't even include if you start buying real estate, which I'm gonna make some videos about too on my page. But what I'm saying to you is the reason why your parents and people in your community don't have this set up this way, because they did it the opposite way of doing all the stuff we weren't supposed to be doing. They went into poverty and debt first, or they probably grew up in poverty like I did. They grew up in poverty and they stayed there, or they never implemented this plan, or they went out and they started chasing that credit score, getting these credit cards, payday loans, debt. And then all their future earnings, any raise they got, was already committed. That's why the banks love you. That's why the credit card companies love you guys. 80%, the credit card research has already been proven, 80% of the American people are on revolving credit with them, meaning they're not paying their debt off every month. Most likely because they probably don't have the money to pay it off every month. That means that 80% of the country, that's all they need. Think about that. Think about you keep falling, your children, your grandchildren keep falling for the same scam, the same debt cycle. You and all your future generations keep falling for the same debt cycle. And you've seen people fail, but you're going to keep arguing with people who keep saying get out of debt. You're going to keep arguing with them and saying, oh no, I got to build a score, this works. No, you don't even need to score. I'm gonna make a video of how you live without the credit score. You don't really need to score. You could build a score for a few things you need in life. Let's say you got to buy a house or something, and you're like, well, the houses are a little expensive. I'm gonna spend 6 months to a year, 2 years, getting a secure credit card, paying it down, getting some credit, maybe a little small car loan, whatever. And then I'm gonna build my credit score up so I can go get my house. But then I'm gonna go ahead and pay that down very fast. There could be things like that, but you really don't need a credit score. Okay, do you need a credit score to buy food? No. Do you need a credit score to buy clothes? I shop at Nordstrom's. I feel like I shop at a pretty nice store that has decent quality clothes. I don't need a credit score to shop there. Now, they do try to offer me the credit card. They offer me a rewards card, but I can't, it was linked to your debit card somehow. I think they offered me that 10 years ago, and I still, every time I go to that store and they say, do you have your phone number, that card, I'm like, no, I don't even remember. Because that card is tied to a phone number I can't remember because it was so long ago. You want another one? No, I don't need it. I'm shopping Nordstrom's rack. It got enough sales and clearance on a clearance rack that I don't need it. I mean, yeah, some people are like, why don't you just get a little bit more? No, because you got to your mind has to be on. First of all, they're tracking your purchases and data on you. I don't want that either. I don't care for that. I don't need it. I live a peaceful life. I don't want it. But they're tracking you when you go shopping and data on you. So I just find it weird. And they sell that to companies and stuff like that. And I just find it strange, and the privacy invasion, because you might be getting some personal stuff for yourself. You don't want everybody you don't want everybody to know when you bought your undergarments. Okay. So you can start seeing undergarment ads going across your social media page. Oh Lord, they don't know I went to the store and got some undergarments. But people, so they try to offer me the card. I decline the card. You don't need to buy clothes. Do you need it to get car insurance? I think back in the day they did, but most of the time when I apply for car insurance, they never asked me for a social anymore. I don't know why. I don't know if they stopped doing that. And they probably did. I just probably wasn't paying attention. But I remember a while back they were running your social to determine what kind of insurance they're going to give you. I don't care. They can run the social. I don't care. I'm not getting a credit card. And I've had them. I've been in debt. That's what I'm saying. I've touched the fire. This is why I'm trying to help you, because I've touched this fire. I help people who have touched the fire. I've heard stories. I've seen divorces. I've seen fights over this money and this debt. So I'm hoping this video is going to help you stay away from that stuff. But, all right. So let's focus on what to do. You're going to find a mentor. In your life, find a mentor, find someone who you like and trust, and let them help you. Who, if you're trying to start a business, you don't plan to work for the rest of your life for another company, make sure you find a mentor who can help you. And you may not find them right away. Don't even be in a rush to find them right away. God kind of brings them into your life somehow. I don't know how to describe it. I've had some good mentors in my life and over the years, and I kind of just ran into them throughout life. You may have a mentor for one part of your life, fitness and health and finances, and you might have a mentor for, mental health and therapy. So you're going to have mentors for different things in your life. How to raise your children. You might have somebody helping you with that. Mentorship about being a parent. Mentorship about your career. There's different mentors. So through your life, you're going to meet people and you're going to network. So you're going to find these mentors throughout your life. You're going to need your active income, so income from a job. And when you get that income from a job, make sure you're investing it in either real estate or equities until you're ready to start a business. Let it grow there on that side first. And I don't know if by the time you see this video, I should already have the real estate videos posted, but if not, I'll get those up for you. I'll get the how to live without credit video up for you too as well. So just check back. I'm posting so much content over these next few weeks to help people. So but you're going to want to invest that income into either real estate, a duplex, fourplex, triplex, or single family home. You're going to want to, this is if you're moving out from your parents. If you're living with your parents, just save up your money like I told you. Now, if you are ready to start investing and moving on, then you start buying the real estate, you start buying your equities and stocks, and you just keep your money there until you're ready to do something bigger. That money is going to grow so much. Like I have a client, I made a video on college as well that I want you to see, because you're in your early 20s. If you've already went to college, of course, that's great. Go ahead and use that degree. But if you're on the fence about whether or not you should go to college, watch that video I made about college destroys finances. For some people, college makes sense. For others, college makes absolutely no financial sense. It actually ruins your finances, especially if you grew up poor or you grew up in low income areas. Because if you're going to take out student loans, you're going to be in debt to someone for so many years. And also you lose time in the workforce. So watch that video, because it's too much to explain in this video. And I don't want to have to repeat all that stuff I went over, but I did go over some numbers. I showed you how it affected my life and other people's lives, and how if you do it, where you just start investing first, you'll come out probably way ahead. But that's assuming you already have a pretty decent job or income that you can put away some money. If college is free, if you're going to a trade school, that's okay. If you are going into a high-paying field, that's okay. But I'm going to share a story with you. I have a client who's an immigrant that has paper, like they're not a legal citizen, but they have their papers to work in the United States. They have their Social Security card and everything like that. And this client has been in the country, I want to say almost 10 or 15 years. And this client is a server and has way more net worth in his real estate and his savings than people who went to college and people who are doctors, some doctors, and people who, he has way more. because a person who went to school for medicine is trying, if they didn't get scholarships or their parents didn't pay for them to go, they're still trying to dig their way out of $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 worth of medical debt, medical school bills. So they're not saving and investing, and because they spent almost 10 years in medical school, plus undergrad, plus residency, plus all those years in, of grade school, they're so burnt out on that they want to now have some fun with their money, so they're not saving and investing. So you'll be surprised, a person who makes $50,000-$60,000 as a server will sometimes have way more income than a person who went to college and works these like prestigious type of jobs, engineering and doctors and all these prestigious jobs, and lawyers. And I'll meet some successful lawyers and doctors, but I also meet some successful people who just have regular incomes, like teachers, nurses. I had one nurse, I think she put $100,000 down on her house. Like, whoa, nurse, and I think school for nursing is 2 to 4 years, depending on if you're going to get a associate's or a bachelor's. So, like I said, depending on what route you're going to take, whether you're planning to be an entrepreneur, or start a side hustle, try to fund that with your own money. Try not to use any debt, because people who are in debt are promoting a lot of debt. I want to say those people are usually failing, or they eventually will fail, because most businesses in a lot of debt eventually fail or go bankrupt. And I really think that, from what I understand from my studies of businesses, that is one of the reasons a lot of businesses do fail. Even if they have a good idea or good plan, the fact that they don't financially understand the numbers and the accounting part of it, they end up overspending or not projecting correctly the numbers they need to start that business or grow that business. Because a lot of people don't understand math in a sense of how finances really work. Because if you understood how finances really work, you would know the person getting rich is the person offering you that free credit, or trying to get you to build that credit score. But the real money is in taking your active income you have and growing that money without using debt, because you don't owe anyone and you'll never owe anyone. So if it's possible, try it that way. I understand there's going to be some incidents where you are going to need that debt to start a business or buy some real estate to leverage. I understand that. We can get into that at another time, but I'm saying, for the most part, if you're just working a typical 9-to-5 or job, your active income jobs, try to use that first to build your wealth. And you're going to see that it's going to grow faster, because you don't owe anyone any money. And if you're fired or laid off from your job, you can quit faster, you can leave faster, you can pivot faster, and you could take 1, 2, 3, 4 years off, because you have so much freaking money in the bank. Imagine if 10 years later you watch this video and you hit me up in 10 years. I hope you do. You hit me up in 10 years and you're like, hey, I started putting away $10,000, $12,000 away, $15,000 away, like you told me to, in these investments. And now I got laid off from my job, or I was fired. Because if you watch my video on that, men getting fired, like the video about something like men reinventing themselves after a job loss, and you watch that video about how a boss came in and fires this guy, like just for not liking him. So if that ever happens to you, you're just like chunking a deuces at him. You're like, hey, it didn't work out, give me my unemployment, and chunk the deuce, and you go start that business. That might be the time God is pushing you out of that job so you can now start that business. But while you're building up that money, my hair, the wind in my hair. While you're building up that money, what I want to leave you with is, that's going to give you the time to build the money, and that's going to give you the time to learn what you really want to do with your life and what businesses you want to start. And that's going to give you time to kind of start some businesses, fail a little bit if you do fail. Not everyone fails. Some people start a business and it takes off. But I'm saying, if it doesn't work out, you still got more time to start something else or try something else. So those in your 20s, you got all your 20s. Spiders on me. I gotta go, y'all. I gotta get out of this park. I got a spider crawling me. But it's gonna give you time to fail. It's gonna give you time to save money and invest money. And then all that time, you're gonna be learning and studying businesses and learning, going to trade shows, traveling. So you're gonna learn and pick up stuff, and then you're gonna be ready to execute on your business. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel and join the escapee movement. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.